Welcome you all dear students. In today's session we are going to study about active voice and passive voice. So in earlier class you have studied about this detail. In this class, in today's session, we are going to study about this in detail. So what is the detail you have to study? We have to know about what is passive voice in today's class. So on the basis of this, we are going to study about the various sentences which is given in active voice and we have to convert into passive voice. This is what we have to study in this class. Let's start. Yes, the passive voice. Here is given passive voice. What is passive voice? The passive of an active tense. So, active tense is formed by putting the verb to be. So, what we have to do? We have to put verb to be into the same tense. We should not change the tense form there as the active verb. The verb which is used in active, we have to consider that same verb in passive also, and adding the past participle. We need past participle that we are called as V3 form of the active verb. So we have to take V3 form from the active verb, the verb which is used in active voice. The subject of active verb becomes the agent. So what do you mean by agent? As you have studied in earlier class, agent is nothing but the object, right? So you will study in detail of the passive verb. The agent is very often mentioned, not mentioned. Very often not mentioned. So most of the sentences we didn't write agent at the end of the passive form. When it is mentioned, it is preceded by. So preposition and placed at the end of the clause. Here you can see my grandfather planted this tree. Here my grandfather, subject, planted verb, then this tree object. You can understand what is agent here. This tree, so object comes first, wherein passive form. This tree, because of tense form simple, so it is given in simple past. So helping verb in simple past are was or were. Because of this tree, so this tree here is singular, that's why you have to select was. So you write this tree was planted. What is the V3 form? As we have studied, past participle form of plant is planted. By preposition is used here by my grandfather. So here my grandfather is an agent. Got it? Is an agent. So you can understand the subject of active voice. Yes, let us study further. Here is given passive verb tenses. How sentences given in active and changing to passive form. Here you can notice present simple. He delivers the letters. The letters are delivered. Here agent didn't write, so omitted. Past simple. He delivered the letters. The letters were delivered. Future simple. He will deliver the letters. The letters will be delivered. Present continuous. He is delivering the letters. The letters are being delivered. Past continuous. He was delivering the letters. The letters were being delivered. Going to form. How going to form is used? Going to form is used to refer future action. See here, but it is seen as present continuous. He is going to deliver the letters. The letters are going to be delivered. So to be form is used with V3 form. Present perfect. He has delivered the letters. The letters have been delivered. Past perfect. He had delivered the letters. The letters had been delivered. Infinitive forms like he has to deliver the letters. The letters have to be delivered. So this is the way the tense form is used here. Models like can, may, might, must, could, shall, should. So these are called as models. He must deliver the letters. The letters must be delivered. So this is the way we have to convert from active voice to passive voice. Yes, here you can see tense form, present, past and future. Accompanied with simple present, simple past, simple future, present continuous, past continuous, future continuous. Then simple, I mean present perfect tense, past perfect, then future perfect. Is there? No. So let us study in detail about this. In present tense, in negative, you can see plus mark here. So subject plus am or is or are plus PTP. PTP in the sense past participle form. See, past participle is called as V3. Okay, don't get confused in this V3. In continuous form, subject plus am or is or are plus being because of ing form. Continuous is progressive tense. That's why. Along with PTP, past participle. Then perfect. Subject plus have or has plus been form. Been form you have to write. Along with that, V3 form. Then negative form. Yes, subject. Then am, is or are. Plus not negative you have to use. Plus PTP. Then continuous. Subject plus am or is or are plus not plus being. Because of continuous, you have to use being plus V3 form. When you come to perfect, present perfect, here that case, the example, I mean the model, the rule is same to every tense here, but the thing is helping verb is different. Here subject plus have or has plus not negative plus been form. See, negative form is used after helping verb. So wherever it is, it may be that simple or continuous or perfect. So negative, that means not. Not is placed after helping verb. Thereafter, you can take been after using not. Then V3 form. So when you come to question, when the sentence ends with question, so particular sentence you have to begin with am or is or are plus subject plus V3 form. In the same, wherein continuous or is or are plus subject plus being form because of continuous being plus V3 form. Then perfect have or has plus subject plus been plus V3 form. Wherever it is, when the sentence ends with question mark in passive form, you have to begin with helping verb first. So, helping verb at first. If you want to make the same sentence ends with in the same sentence wherein interrogative. Then past. So here also similar, but the thing helping verb is different. Was or were. Here was or were. Had. So earlier we have written have or has. Here is had. And when we come to negative form, we have to use negative after helping verb. Here also after helping verb negative, then being, then had plus not. So after helping verb not, then been you have to write plus V3 form. So when it comes to question or interrogative, was or were plus subject plus V3 form ends with question mark. Was or were plus subject plus being because of continuous, then V3 form. So had or had um, plus been plus V3 form. So this is the way we have to write. So here at the end ends with question. Then future, when we come to future, so in simple future, subject plus will or shall plus be. You have to write be after helping verb plus V3 form. So in negative, subject plus will plus not plus be plus V3 form. In question, will at first, then subject, then be plus V3 form. So this is the way we have to write this helping verb. So that is what the rule. But when we come to going to, here is bit different. Why? Because subject in positive sentence, subject plus we I mean we to be this means that be form. So be form as helping. Be form is helping verb. So be forms like am or is or are plus going to plus. So after writing going to, so you have seen earlier part going to, then be plus V3 form you have to write. So keep in mind. Then when we come to negative, subject plus V to be, am or is or are plus not after using helping verb not plus going to it is already given in the sentence, you just have to place here. After this you have to write be plus V3 form. You have to keep in mind going to form is already given in the sentence, but the thing, when you convert the sentence into passive form, you have to keep in mind. So after writing subject plus V to be form of am or is or are plus going to plus be plus V3 form. Keep in mind. When you begin the sentence in question, so you have to take be form of am or is or are plus subject plus going to plus be form, then V3 form. So this is the formula you have to keep in mind. So these formula is very important. This formula is very important to understand the conversion of the sentences wherein active to passive. So keep in mind. But one more rule is you have to keep in mind. It's very important. Present, past, future. So these three, present, past, future, of which tense? Perfect progressive. Perfect progressive or continuous, both are same. Tenses and future progressive or future continuous. Tenses are not used in passive voice. Keep in mind. See here, you can see there are three tenses: present, past, and future. In the same, we have simple, continuous, perfect. And one more, fourth one is perfect, continuous, or progressive. So, perfect, continuous, or progressive is used in for three tenses. But wherein passive form, present or past or future of perfect, progressive, or continuous is not used. Similarly, future progressive continuous tense is not used. Keep in mind, not used in passive form. Got it? Yes, let's move on. Yes, active to passive. How active voice is changed to passive? Just pay attention here. To change a sentence from the active voice to passive voice, what we have to follow here? The object of active voice. So here object is this book. Keep in mind this book. Active voice. Here Agatha Christie wrote this book. Active voice. Let me write A. So here is P. Keep in mind. Sentence becomes the subject of passive sentence. Here I told you. So object. Object wherein active voice this book. So here this book is converted into, here you can see this book, the subject of passive. So keep in mind this, you have already studied about this in earlier class. We change the main verb. So what is the main verb? Wrote is the main verb of the active voice. So active voice of the main verb wrote, sentence into passive voice. The tense remains unchanged. We should not change the tense. For example, in active voice we have wrote. We should not change the tense form there. Got it? So tense is remains unchanged. The subject of active voice sentence becomes the agent. I told you agent. So what is the agent here? Agent is often omitted. Wherein passive sentence. Agent of active voice here is Agatha Christie. Agent. Keep in mind agent. So same agent is written at the end of passive. Here is written agent. But what they're telling is agent of the passive sentence. What we have to do? The subject of active voice sentence becomes the agent of passive sentence. So what we have as subject wherein active, that is converted into agent of passive sentence. It is placed after the past participle. So we have to place after writing past participle, which we called as V3. Got it? It is preceded by the preposition by. You can see there. Yes, let's move on. See, it is very clear. Agatha Christie wrote this book. This book was written by Agatha Christie. Then one more sentence is given for understanding. Leslie took this photograph yesterday. Complement. Here active verb, object, subject of active voice. Then passive voice. What we have to do? Here you can remember object becomes subject of passive. Then took is written or given in simple past. So simple past we have was or were. There are two helping verbs. Because of this, so we have to decide to select verb, I mean helping verb, on the basis of subject which is given wherein passive voice. Keep in mind. So this photograph is singular. That's why. So we have to recognize whether it is singular or plural. On this base, we have to select whether was or were is suitable for. Here was is selected because of singular form. Was taken. So took, its V3 form is taken. Then Leslie, by preposition is used. Leslie, subject. So subject of active becomes the agent wherein passive voice. So then you can continue with the complement, that is yesterday. So this is the way we have to change this voice. Next here, double object verbs. So what is that double object verbs? When we have verbs that take two objects, like for example, give somebody something. See here, they are going to focus about object 1, object 2. In a sentence, there may be chances to have more than one object. Give, here give is used as verb, but object is going to say like somebody has given to something. Here somebody is object 1 and something object 2. So there are two objects. If there is double objects, how to convert that particular sentence into passive? So that is what they are going to explain here. We can convert the active sentence into passive in two ways. If there is object 1, if there is object 1, object 2, we have to write in two ways. Okay, by making the indirect or animate object. So indirect object, the subject of passive voice sentence, which is also the way we usually prefer. So let us understand. By making the direct object subject of passive voice. So there are two ways to make. Here you can understand Rick gave me. So indirect object. So what is that? Me. Here me is indirect object. Got it? This book. So direct object. Here is direct object is this book. There are two object. Object 2. Object 1. Object 1 is me. Object 2 is this book. There are two objects. Okay, keep in mind. And at first they have taken object 1, that is me. If me is given in the place of object, that is converted into I. You can see here subject, in the place of subject it becomes I. Okay, so let me take I as subject wherein passive form. Was, why? Because gave. So gave past tense, so that was, and its V3 form is given. I was given this book by Rick. Got it? So this book is given by him. Then object 2 is this book. So let me take this book in the place of subject of passive. This book was, because of tense was, given. Here this book is singular, that's why was. This book was given to me, but we have to write to. Got it? So you will learn why. Me by Rick. So this is the way we have to use two objects in this particular sentences. Keep in mind. Next, yes, some of the verbs, some of the verbs take two objects are give, tell, send, show, bring, write, offer, pay. So these verbs having two objects. So in what way these verbs are having two objects? Let me take this two. Give something, somebody, something. So give is used. Then tell somebody something, send somebody something. So in this way we can judge there are two objects are used. This accompanied with this verbs. When the indirect object is alone, when the indirect object is alone, the verb in the passive voice sentence, it needs the preposition to form. If there is so indirect object, that is what me. If you take indirect object, yes, if you take indirect object is alone, alone in the sense if it is placed indirect object at the end, if the indirect object is alone after after the verb in passive voice sentence, it needs the preposition to. If the indirect object of the active sentence is personal pronoun, so personal pronoun me, that is personal pronoun. If indirect object of the active sentence is a personal pronoun, it has to be changed into subject pronoun, that is what I, to be the subject of passive sentence. So you have seen here how, so these rules is applicable, and to connect you have to use to. You have seen here to me. Okay, indirect object is used preposition to combine. Then here you can understand if there is her in the place of object, it converts into she in the place of subject. So it remains the same. He, then him, he, you, no changes. Then us becomes we, you same, them, they. So this is the way voice is changed with this. Yes, let us go towards sentences. Yes, I gave these sentences as homework for you. Understand? Change the following into passive sentences. What we have to do? We have to change as passive sentences. One manufacturer consulted pasture about his beer, which was turning out badly. What we have to recognize here? One manufacturer is subject, consulted, verb, pasture, object. So here one manufacturer, as we have learnt in previous, so that is what agent. Got it? So let me take it first is object, that is pasture. This is what passive. Here is active. Pasture. Because of tense form, consulted. Simple past. Because of tense form, simple past. Because of simple past, we are using was, and here past pasture is singular. Then consulted, V3 form of consulted, consulted. Then preposition by, subject comes after V3 form, one, manufacturer. Then continuation of the sentence, that is what? About his beer which was turning out badly. Put a full stop. In this way, the statement ends. Many believed that germs had spontaneous generation. Here, many, subject, believed, verb. But object, we don't have object here. Got it? So, in this case, you have to take it as object, wherein active sentence. So, take it in the place of subject, wherein passive. Then, because of tense form was, it was singular, third person singular, that's why was here. Believed, V3 form of believe, by many, many agent. Okay. Then, so what is there? That. Here, that is used as conjunction to combine two sentence together, two clauses together. So, this is what? Complex sentence. Okay. Complex. Because subordinating conjunction, yes, see, subordinating conjunction is used to combine two clauses. One is main and another one is subordinating. Subordinating conjunction, here you can understand subordinating conjunction. Here is main conjunction, I mean main clause, subordinate clause and main clause. Conjunction is that is subordinating conjunction is used to combine subordinating clause and main clause together. So that is nothing but complex sentence. Keep in mind. Then after this you have to take that to combine two sentences together. Then you can begin what is there in the continuation part, wherein active, and write the same in passive also. Germs had spontaneous generation. Put a full stop at the end. Then a simple and clever experiment proved that Pasteur was right about germs. Here, a simple and clever experiment. Subject, proved, or verb, but we don't have object. So, where is object here? No object. In this case, you have to take it as in the place of subject, wherein passive. Then you begin. It was, because of proved to tense form is past simple. As a result, you take was and it is third person singular. Then proved, V3 form of proved is proved there. By preposition, a simple and clever experiment. That is what subject. That, because of this particular sentence is in complex, like I told you earlier, complex, that's why you have to begin the same complex what is given, the continuation part wherein active, write the same in passive, put a full stop at the end. Then a germs which had turned their wine sour troubled some French winemakers. See what kind of the sentence it is. A germs which had germs which, yes, a germs which had turned their wine sour troubled some French winemakers. See, actually, in this part, first part is together, A germ which had turned their wine sour. So after this we have verb troubled. Then some French winemakers as object. So what is the subject here? So this part is subject. So you take some French winemakers as subject in passive, some French winemakers. So after writing this, you can say makers. Some French winemakers is in plural form. That's why the tense form is used in past. So you take were. Okay. Then V3 form of trouble is troubled there by preposition a germ. Continuation. Germ. I mean subject. Germ which had turned their wine sour. Put a full stop. Then Dr. Jenner in England had already discovered vaccination for smallpox. Dr. Jenner in England. So this part is subject. Had discovered verb. Vaccination for smallpox. That is object. You take it first object. Vaccination for smallpox. Had. So helping verb had is written. Already. After writing already, you can take been. Okay. Been form. But because the given active form is in past perfect. So that you have to take been form. Already been discovered V3 form by Dr. Jenner in England. So this is the way you have to convert this sentence. Pasteur found out first of all that a cow could not have anthrax twice. So here there is a problem. So I have written two sentences here. 1, 2. But what is the problem is here the problem is the way the sentence is written. At first, I have written it was found out by Pasteur, first of all, that a cow could not have anthrax twice. The sentence is right. So, we can understand this sentence. There is no much changer. So, meaning is not changed here. But when you go to the sentence grammatically, so there is a problem wherein the second part of the clause here that is used as subordinating conjunction to combine two clauses together. So like I told you earlier, this is nothing but complex sentence. Complex sentence. What do you mean by complex sentence? A sentence which has main clause, one main clause and one or two subordinate clauses and combined by conjunction. So which conjunction? Subordinating conjunction is known as complex sentence. Okay. So in this case, you have to select Pasture was subject here. Found verb. So found out verb, phrasal verb is given. You take together. But the thing is, we don't have object. So we don't have object. So in that particular time, you take it as object of active voice and you write it in the place of subject wherein passive. So it was because of tense form found V2 form. So it's V3 is found. It was found out by Pasture subject. first of all. Then you have to write that. After writing that, you can write a cow could not have anthrax twice. Okay. But the problem is here you'll come to know anthrax. What word it is? It's very simple. Yes. A cow could not have anthrax twice. Look at this part. Look at this part. What changes we noticed is a cow subject could not have verb. Then anthrax object. So in the second sentence, wherein here you can see anthrax is written in the place of subject anthrax. Then modal auxiliary, that is could, written as it is, not negative form. So after helping verb not is used. After not we have to take be, okay, wherein modal auxiliary be. So modal auxiliary like can, shall, may, might, would, okay, should. So these kind of helping verbs, as we called as modals, in that particular time we have to take be. Along with be we have to add v3 form. So v3 form of have, that is had. Keep in mind. Yes, v3 form of have is had. You have to write after writing be, then by preposition by a cow. Cow is the subject agent, wherein passive. Then a cow twice. So twice is used as complement there, right? As it is. So this is the way we have to make sentence, but authentic sentence is the second one is right. Most of the students have written somewhere I got confused correction. Most of the answers I put as wrong. Okay. So keep in mind, you just check your notes. Okay. Yes, let's move on. When the news spread that Pasteur had discovered a cure for anthrax, hundreds of people wrote to him for supplies of vaccine. So it's very tricky sentence to understand. How it is tricky? Because there are two clauses. Two clauses. So this particular sentence is given in complex sentence. Why? Because when is subordinating conjunction is used to combine two clauses. The news spread and that is used. So that and when is used. Therefore, that is complex sentence. Got it? Pasteur had discovered a cure for anthrax. Okay, one clause. Then hundred of people wrote to him for supplies of vaccine. So there are two sentences. One, second one is here. Let me take a different ink to show you. Yes. Pasteur had discovered a cure for anthrax. First one. And the second one is second one. Hundreds of people wrote to him supplies of vaccine. So there are two sentences together. Pasteur discovered cure for anthrax. So in this case, it is very problematic to write in this passive voice. So if you take first one, so it is problematic to understand. That's why, so you can do both the way. So which way is suitable, which way is understandable, and which one is very sense in clear to understand. So you take that is authentic. So let me take the second sentence. Okay. Hundreds of people, hundreds of people. Here, hundreds of people wrote to him for supplies of vaccine. Let me take him as object. Wrote, verb. Hundreds of people, subject. Subject, verb, object. So we got. When in first sentence, what we have to do is pasture. Pasture is subject. Had discovered, verb. A cure for anthrax, that is object. Let me take second one at first. Pasture, him chained as pasture. We know to whom the word him refers to. So pasture in the place of passive. Pasture wrote. Look at the verb here, wrote. So it is given in simple past. So that was, here pasture is singular, was written. V3 form of wrote is written by hundreds of people. So hundreds of people is subject here. So I am taking here as an agent hundreds of people for supplies of vaccine. So after writing this, let me take this part at first. I mean, after completion of the first part, I'll take this first part next. So when the news spread, so let me take as it is, no need to change anything here. Then that is used. A cure for anthrax. A cure for anthrax. Here, cure. So that is used as conjunction to combine two sentences together. So cure, object of first sentence, here is used as subject. A cure for anthrax. Had discovered. The tense is given. So helping verb is had. After helping verb, we have to take been. Had been discovered. V3 form. V3 form of discover. By him. Him refers to pasture. So this is the way sentence you have to complete. So it is very tricky to understand. Just you have to go through again. Okay. Yes. Let's move on. Pasture inoculated the young boy. The young boy with some weak rabies germs. See, pasture, subject, inoculated, verb. The young boy, object. So I have taken here the young boy as subject of passive. Because of tense form inoculated, simple past, so that was is taken as helping verb because of young boy singular. Young boy was inoculated. V3 form of inoculated there. With continuation of part. With some weak germs, weak rabies germs by pasture. Here pasture is subject or an agent, it is placed at the end. So after using V3 form. So V3 form here is inoculated. So this is the way the statement is ends. Then researchers are desperately searching for a cure for many deadly diseases. So here is tricky to understand about subject verb agreement. It's very simple. Researchers you have to identify as subject are desperately searching, verb. And you here you can understand ing form, main verb is used as ing form. Therefore this sentence is given in present continuous or progressive. Keep in mind, or progressive. For a cure for many deadly diseases, used as object. So take at first object, a cure for many, a cure for many deadly diseases, as subject of passive. So what you are doing is, by looking the word which is very near to the helping verb, on this space you are selecting helping verb. It is wrong. Why? Because you have to check all the phrase. So which word is stressed more? The stressed more word is, that is cure. So it is given in singular form. So cure is stressed with is. Got it? So because of tense form, so present continuous, so you have to take either is or are or am. Because of singular form, a cure, so I took here a is as helping verb. Then after taking helping verb, you have to take being form. Okay. Then being after, you have to take desperately, that is given here as adverb, being desperately. Then you can take V3 form of main verb, searched. Okay. By researchers. Researcher used as an agent or subject. It is placed after V3 form. Keep in mind. So in this way, the statement is ended. Yes. So you have learned so many things in this class. Thank you so much, my dear students. And ask me if you found any difficulty to understand any other sentences. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.